Hello everyone, Darren here, and on today's episode of Watch the Academy, we're going to be looking at how to play the meme that is the Japanese heavy tank, the Type 5. This vehicle is famous for being practically useless, and while the person behind the sticks may feel that way in most cases, let me assure you that the tank itself is not useless if handled correctly. So, let's get started. So, starting with the armor on the Type 5, the armor on the Type 5 is pretty strong, but at the same time redundant. Armor in general is very strong, with the front of the tank being well over 230 millimeters thick. In terms of the various armor segments, all are over 230 millimeters, and with a combination of 160 millimeter side armor and thick portions of spaced armor, you can effectively side scrape. There are issues though. The Type 5 is large and flat. This means that armor is really only going to be effective against lower tier tanks and any low medium caliber standard rounds. Otherwise, expect to be shot at with premium rounds, and those will most of the time pen. It should also be noted that the corners of the fighting compartment have been cut off, essentially. This provides a prominent weak point on the cheeks of the vehicle to the enemy if you are side scraping, and you do not take care to hide it. Lastly, as usual, the top of the vehicle is weakly armored, and in the case of this large, slow-moving vehicle, you will be a huge arty magnet if you are caught out in the open. Now, in terms of mobility, the Type 5 doesn't have any. With a forward speed of 25 kilometers per hour and a reverse speed of 11 kilometers per hour, you should not expect to be going anywhere quickly, nor escaping if you make a mistake. As for the fire chance, it's at 20%, so I recommend running a fire extinguisher, especially since you are a big magnet for artillery. Now, in terms of firepower, the Type 5 has access to two different guns. In my opinion, do not waste your time with the 15 centimeter, as I found the 14 centimeter to be more flexible of the two guns, due to the larger variety of ammo available, and the better performance of the premium round. With a base accuracy of 0.4, a base reload of 17.7 seconds, and a base aim time of 2.5 seconds, you should have no problem putting follow-up shots on target, but the time between shots will be lengthy, and the chance of hitting anything outside a couple hundred meters without skills to boost your accuracy will be an issue. The elevation and depression angles are pretty acceptable for a tank of this size, with 10 degrees of gun depression and 20 degrees of elevation. Even with the immense size, you should have no problem fighting in and around ridgelines and hills. Now, how do you set up the Type 5? Well, in terms of consumables, I run 26 AP, 28 premium AP, and 6 HE for lightly armored targets. But most of the time I tend to just use the premium rounds. And I also run a repair kit, a first aid kit, and a fire extinguisher because of my luck with artillery, and because we no longer have the ability to pair up double consumables. But of course, you can use food if you wish to do so. For equipment, I run an advanced loader, a gun stabilizer, and improved ventilation to improve the overall performance of the tank, because I find it pointless trying to improve vision on a tank that should never be put into a position to need to rely on vision. Of course, if you believe vision is a priority in this vehicle, you can swap improved ventilation for advanced optics if you wish to do so. Now for a new segment that we now have to cover because of 6.0. For the commander setup, I recommend the Brawling Heavy commander setup as a starting point. A link to the setup video for commanders will be in the description. But seeing as I know what I wanted to focus on in the Type 5 in a brawling fight, I selected the following as my skills: Born Leader, Rapid Reloading, Steady Aim, Clutch Braking, Rapid Aim, Sixth Sense, Armor Angling, Off-Road Driving, and Gunsmith. Now, how do you play the Type 5? Well, in a city environment where you can be relatively arty safe, you want to play the Type 5 as a frontline heavy, tanking the shots meant for your teammates, while at the same time dishing out large amounts of damage to anyone foolish enough to stick their heads out in front of you. In the event that you are stuck on a more open map, you want to play more cautiously while still being on the front line, but this time your focus should be more on your survival. To do this, you want to go to any part of the map that can provide any form of cover advantageous to you that helps you stay safe from both the ground and the sky. Be aware, though, that regardless of the map you land on, you must decide where you are going before the match starts, as once you go down one path, you are effectively stuck there, as you will not have the mobility to escape demise if things go south. Also, I found this vehicle to be pretty much only really effective when firing premium, so if you want to do well, you should expect to be firing a lot of premium. That's it for how to set up and play the Type 5. Let's take a look at 2 helpings of gameplay. Alright, so here we are on Berlin Winter Standard Battle. Now this kind of looks very familiar to everybody. This is an older video. Now, both replays are older videos. I just want to give a heads up that the vehicles we have now are buffed compared to pre 6.0. So what you're seeing right now, I guess technically would be the Type 5 in a worse format than before what it is now with 6.0. Skills for the commander, for the crew at the time before 6.0 was actually less in terms of what I actually had available to me than what I do now. I think I actually had less than 7 skills on my Type 5 commander before 6.0, and then when 6.0, all the excess crew XP and stuff that I had just made its way down to the Type 5. So my Type 5 is actually much better post 6.0 than what it was beforehand. But nonetheless, these were just, in terms of gameplay alone, very good demonstrations of how to play the tank. So anyway, I decided to go to the brawling side of Berlin just because, again, I'm a Type 5, I'm a brawler. And what you see me doing here is I'm trying to do the best I can to angle myself to the Emil 2. Again, I was still aware that the cheeks are a weak point on this, but, you know, he was focused on the E75. I was just, you know what, full send, and again, I had premium rounds. This is all I ever really fire out of the Type 5. It's one of those tanks where you just might as well fire all premium or not play the vehicle at all. Just ran around full send, put a round right into the Emil, and, you know, took care of him. As you can see, I'm kind of like playing this like not a care in the world. I know I'm facing tier 9s. I know that they may not be expecting entirely just this big behemoth rolling at them, and sometimes that honestly actually is the best method of just full sending towards an enemy and, you know, just scaring the hell out of them. But yeah, it's slow, lumbering. Luckily, I actually had support with me that kind of saw what I was doing and was just straight up deciding to, you know, come on along and support me. But as you can see, I mean, not a care in the world. I'm just broadsiding some of these tanks. And again, while they are tier 9s, with the premium rounds, you know, I'm not really having an issue about not having reliable rounds. I have found that the premium rounds on the 14 centimeter just seem to be better than the 15 centimeter premium rounds. Mostly because the 15 centimeter does not have a premium AP round, while this one does, if I remember correctly here. I honestly can't even tell anymore with the post 6.0 ammunition, and obviously I can't go back and check to see because there's no icons. Now, as you can see, doing exactly what a Type 5 can do really good at, especially when it's fully loaded with premium rounds, and that is just bully even equal tier vehicles. You know, he could have put heat in, but, you know, here I am going right towards him, putting my strongest armor front, not really giving him a chance to actually aim at weak points, and because of my height, I'm able to just casually shoot down into his weak point. And as you can see, I've got 2 kills, not a whole lot of damage, but you know, I have close to 3K combined right here, and I just completely bullied my way down the 9-0 line in order to help secure a win on this map. More or less, it's kind of just playing the bully, taking the damage, and, you know, as you can see, I walked away with full health, and I actually did bounce rounds. So again, in an urban environment, even with artillery, if you play already safe and, you know, you got the right setup and you guess even scare the heck out of people enough, you'll be able to play it right. And have a really, really good game in it. And again, like I said, not the best end result, but this was like the best performance that I ever got out of playing the Type 5 in an urban environment. Just everything fell into place. Angling was perfect. Caught people at the right times of reloads. Scared them. Intimidated enough for them to mess up their shots. Just overall really good performance there. Now we're going to move on to the second gameplay, and this is a more urban one. And this is probably the one that people, even if I only included one gameplay, this would probably be the one people would want to see just because it's an open map, and a lot of people would ask how to play this on an open map. Now, I started recording this a little bit late, so as you can see, it didn't start off right at the time, but it is Steps Encounter game mode. Again, an old video, but very good gameplay nonetheless, of where things just fell right into place due to proper angling and positioning, and a little bit of luck there as well. Again, premium rounds. I decided to go down to the bottom left-hand corner of the map just because that seemed to be the best, most already safe position, especially for a big, slow lumbering vehicle like this. Like I said, I kind of started playing this a little bit more like a support, second front line type of vehicle, trying to not draw a whole lot of attention to me, and knowing that I also did not have the speed to make it over there when I spotted them, I just decided I'm going to hole up here. I'm going to do what I can, and again, luckily, just things kind of fell in place. Using the fantastic gun depression on the Type 5 right there to, you know, peek out, not really expose any weak points. And as you can see, I'm scouting in a Type 5 heavy, which to me at the time was like, what am I doing? But as you can see, things are just kind of falling right into place right now. Shots are landing, and I just more or less... I'm using the good gun depression, not really exposing a whole lot, and in a Type 5, you know, not exposing a whole lot is kind of a godsend when you can actually do that. But as it is right now, you are going to see, I am going to take hits. This isn't going to just be me sitting here not doing anything. I am going to take damage. Rounds don't pen. You do see that. But again, why I decided to not just push up like I was in the previous game was because of the amount of tanks right there. And at the time, I actually was alone. Tanks were still catching up behind me. So I just decided this was going to be my Alamo right here. The hill will buy me time. If people crest up over it, I will be able to aim up into their lower plate, the bottom of their tank, and shoot them. As you can see right here, this dragon completely, I guess for whatever reason, did not realize that I was there until I started moving. He did put a shot into me. Obviously, he could be circling me, and I wouldn't even be able to do anything about it. But I did swing around, put a shot into him, and he kind of just ran off because, you know, the tanks behind me were coming in to assist. Now, in terms of the actual tank ratio right now, it's just me and I think 1 or 2 other tanks right now, and for the most part, I'm taking the brunt of it. The Jaeger rolls up beside me to offer some assistance, but as you can see right now, I'm just blocking shots. I'm using the gun depression. I'm not exposing a whole lot of weak points. Are the tanks firing premium at me? I honestly could never tell because I'm shooting at them through a bush. I can't really see the tracers. And I see that the Jaeger is pushing up, and I'm like, okay, well, he's going to take a whole lot of fire. It's time for me to go in and try and be the magnet. And again, I've got premium rounds loaded in. Really the only way to play this vehicle. Standard rounds just don't work in the Type 5. Vehicle that came around, I couldn't really see it at a quick glance. I do believe it's a Death Star. Came in, put an AP round through the side. Now it's just pretty much me in this exact moment. There's another TD behind me, but I can't really rely on him to do anything. I was more of expecting him to just run away. But lo and behold, the Waffle does take care of the TD on my flank. Otherwise, it would have been a really bad day for me. Game would have been over. But I do manage to rack up a good healthy amount of assistance just playing exactly like that. Thankfully, I do believe Artie at least once or twice was shooting in my general direction, but I guess for whatever reason didn't bother to hit me. Possibly could not have actually hit me. Trajectory wasn't right. Positioning for them wasn't right. Cannot tell you. But I did take a good amount of damage. The vehicle is very weak to the sides, to higher caliber guns, and again, it's flat, so you are going to, you know, anything at a decent caliber is going to pen there reliably on the side and the rear, even the top of the vehicle, especially the top. But slow, lumbering, there's no way I'm going to be able to go and defend the base. I have to essentially rely on the tanks over in the northeast corner to do something. But at this point, it's just like, you know what? Here I am. I walked away with, you know, 37, 35 in terms of raw damage with over 4K assisted. You know, I could have lost this game or died right now, and I would have been perfectly content with this game. I mean, who wouldn't be okay if you got 4K assisted from spotting in a, you know, a Type 5 heavy? But nonetheless, it's all about positioning and trying to draw at least the little amount of attention to yourself, while still also thinking about your personal safety. Otherwise, I mean, if I wasn't thinking about my personal safety and just thinking about, you know, the actual job of this tank at that time, I would have probably tried to drive into those rock pillars where they were earlier, and I probably would have gotten killed trying to cross the open. But instead, I stayed back. I decided this was my Alamo, this was my holding point, and fully expecting to get rushed, I managed to hold the line, hold the position, and actually help, with the help of some teammates, keep the enemy at bay while racking up some really decent amount of spot assist and track assist, and just overall general damage, both raw and assisted. There's really nothing else much to talk about because, you know, I'm slow and lumbering and I'm not going to make it there. I might pull off an extra shot here. I don't really know. I don't remember in terms of this. But overall, again, a very, very good game. This is how I pretty much play the Type 5 on open maps. Even the only real open maps that I have seen is Malinovka and Proc. Haven't encountered Proc in the Type 5 yet. Malinovka, I have. Still go up the hill. More or less what I end up doing is going down into the trench right there at the top of the hill and hiding along the rock. Positioning there tends to work. If there is no Artie, I'll go up along the windmill there and just side scrape, and again, still very effective with the gun depression. If you angle it right and use a staircase on the back side, it's a very good way to, you know, cover some weak points. But again, victory, really nice game. And at the end of it, we come across about, once this loads, because, you know, you gotta love the old pre 6.0 with the loading there. As you can see, we have about 37-46 in terms of raw damage and 40-48 in assisted. But that's going to be it for how to play the Type 5. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe.